UFC 325 took place yesterday, and today I'm going to be looking back at the entire card, giving my breakdowns and reactions for every single fight that took place last night. And yeah, it was a decent card. It was solid. I'm disappointed with the main event's outcome. You know, Diego Lopes. If you watch any of my other videos, he is my favorite fighter. I love Volk too. I love Volk too. They're two of my top three favorite fighters. But I wanted to have Diego Lopes for him to have his time in the sun because Volk's been a he's been the champ for a long time. You know, he's in his second reign with the belt now. He had that long title run before the loss to Ilya. So I wanted to see Diego get the belt, but couldn't get it done. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that fight, and then I'll get to the rest of the card as well. So without further ado, we'll jump straight into that fight. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Pretty clear decision win for Volk here, no controversy. I had it scored either 4-1 or 3-2. I think round three was pretty close. It kind of just came down to how much you value that flash knockdown at the end of round three. I thought round two was a pretty clear Diego Lopes round, or it was competitive, so I shouldn't say pretty clear, but it felt to me like that was a definitive Diego Lopes round. And then round three, it depends on your scoring of that one, but I think 1, 4, and 5, it pretty clearly went to Volk in my opinion. I think those were very obviously his rounds. I guess some things we learned from this fight. I mean, Diego Lopes, he is a physical specimen. There's no denying that. I mean, he was muscling Volk around with the grappling in likes we've never seen. I mean, we've seen Volk in the cage with Islam, and he didn't even have that much success in terms of just a physicality standpoint in terms of getting Volk where he wants him. But Diego was kind of muscling him around, especially in the clinch when he would have over unders. He was just getting the dominant position. He got the back twice in this fight. In round two, he got it at the end of round two, and then round five, he had it as well. And by that point, his both of Diego Lopez's feet, I believe, were broken. I think he broke one of them in round five. I don't know when the other one broke, but he said he broke both feet. But the one that broke in round five, that was very clear because you can tell something was wrong when he took a step after he kicked Volk in the elbow. So he couldn't really like cinch up the body triangle when he had the back when both of them were or when Volk was standing. He was on Volk's back. He couldn't really get the body triangle fully locked in because his feet just kept giving out. You can't really lock that in when your foot's broken. So unfortunate stuff. I think Diego should have gone to the wrestling more, the grappling more. I mean, he's had extensive training with the Oklahoma State wrestling team. He's got great wrestling. We found that out. Obviously, his submission game is ridiculous. He's got great BJJ. And he had a physicality advantage over Volk. He was muscling him around. I really, really wish that after round two, because you could see in between rounds, like between round one and two, in the corner, Diego Lopes was stressing to his corner how worried he was about the grappling in this fight. But after round two, he should have had a moment of realization where he went, "Oh shit, I can kind of muscle this guy around. I can get to his back pretty easily. I'm winning these scrambles. I need to go to it more." And he just never did. And that's the difference in this fight. I mean, it's one guy making in-fight adjustments and the other not. Diego Lopes, he seemed kind of set in his ways in both the first and the second fight. In Volk, he's always making adjustments on the fly, always making the right decisions, and that's what separates him. That's what separates him from everybody else in this division. Volk's just on a different level when it comes to in-fight adjustments and making reads on guys and finding out what works in fights. And there was a moment where Diego punished him. He knocked him down again in this fight, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So Volk gets it done by a pretty clear decision. Yeah, very impressive performance from Volk. I know I'm kind of ranting about what I would have liked to see Diego do differently, but it's because he's my favorite fighter. But for Volk, I mean, this was a lights out performance. He looked really good. He was landing that overhand right quite a bit. I mean, he kept timing Diego as soon as Diego would come in. He was getting in, getting out like he always does. He's so fast. He's so hard to hit. And I think that's what makes it so frustrating for a guy like Diego Lopes is how hard it is to track Volk down. He's so elusive. He's so good at evading pressure. So good at getting out, getting in and out of the pocket, landing his shots, and getting out before someone can land one of their own. And he's got really good. He's got really long reach. I know he's like 5'6", but he only had a 1 inch reach to disadvantage in this fight. I'm 5'10", and Volk has a longer reach than me by 1.5 inches. It's freakish how long this guy's arms are. So yeah, very impressive win for Volk. Pretty much just a replication of the first fight. I mean, Diego did a better job cutting off the cage this time. I will give him that, but Volk adjusted as I was talking about. Volk made the adjustments that he needed to as this fight went on, and he figured out the puzzle that is Diego Lopes. So impressive win for Volk. I keep hearing them talk after every single fight, every Volk fight. We keep hearing them say, "Is he now finally the featherweight goat?" This guy's been the featherweight GOAT for years. The debate's over. It's not even a question anymore. I don't know why we're even having this discussion. So yeah, Volk's the featherweight GOAT. Make no mistake about it. And very impressive performance. We will move on to the co-main. Impressive performance from Benoit Saint Denis in this fight. Not so much from Dan Hooker. This was a lousy performance from Dan Hooker. He kind of wilted and quit in round 2. It was pretty embarrassing. When I was watching round 1 of this fight, I thought there's a good chance Dan Hooker goes on to win this fight because round 1 was close. It was a competitive fight. You could have scored it either way. I had Benoit Saint Denis taking that round because he got the takedown at the end of the round, landed some good ground and pound, and I think that's kind of what separated the two of them. It was pretty close on the feet. Otherwise, before that, it was quite the scrap. So Dan Hooker, he was pulling his guillotines. He had one moment in round 1 where I think he was kind of threatening one, but didn't really go anywhere. But round 2, man, Benoit he took him down at the beginning of the round and he broke him on the ground. Relentless ground and pound, really nasty stuff. And he made Dan Hooker quit. That's all there is to it. Excuse me, I had to burp. Yeah, he made Dan Hooker quit. That's just what it is. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a matter of Dan Hooker being old. He's getting up there in age. He has a lot of tread on the tires, and that's why he quit. Or if Benoit Saint Denis is really just has that crazy of pressure, which I think he does. He's just relentless. He just trudges forward. The guy fights like it is, move forward at all costs, and that's what it is. And it worked in this fight. Dan Hooker wasn't able to find any devastating knockout shots on him, and Benoit Saint Denis was able to just work away at him. Trudge forward, eat shots, get into the clinch, take him down, beat him up on the ground, just make it a nasty fight like he likes to. Benoit Saint Denis he's a bit of an anomaly to me. He just seems to always, he looks so slow and so technically unrefined in his striking, and he is. That's really the only way you can put it. He doesn't look very good. He looks like shit, and he looks like he should be getting KO'd in every fight. But he just trudges through, and he bulldozes people, and it works, and he gets it done in round 2, late TKO. Dan Hooker never really got hurt, wasn't any really real concussive blows or anything, didn't get rocked at any moment, but he just curled up, and you can't go that long without defending yourself. Benoit was landing some big elbows. Dan Hooker was trying to do his smiling gimmick, oh, I love this shit, and then he got hit with a mean elbow, and that stopped real quick. So Benoit Saint Denis beat the brakes off of Dan Hooker. Very impressive performance for Benoit. I'm looking forward to what's next for him. He called out the winner of the BMF belt. He wants that as his next fight. I wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be a great fight. It'd definitely be a worthy candidate for it. I know he hasn't really been around in the lightweight division as long as some of these other guys that have fought for it, but if it's in terms of just fight style, I think Benoit Saint Denis is definitely in the running for a BMF belt. So we'll move on. Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Ruffy. Ruffy gets it done. Round 2 KO. Devastating knockout. It was picture perfect. Feinted the jab. Came through with a straight right. Boom. Caught Fiziev on the chin. Spun his jaw. And Fiziev just couldn't get his feet under him after that. And Ruffy finished him off by TKO late in round 2. Round 1 I had scored to Fiziev. He was landing some really nice body kicks as he usually does. He had more activity in round 1, but you can start to see the momentum building. You can see Ruffy start to make his reads the late into round 1, and I made note of that in my head. I'm like, this is a Fiziev round, but I can very well see Ruffy going on to win these next 2 because he was really starting to make his reads, finding his openings for shots, and he didn't need the decision. He didn't need to win on the judges' scorecards. He gets the knockout in round 2 with a perfect straight right. You could see he was starting to implement the feints more as the fight went on. Fiziev was doing that from the jump. He was feinting a lot. He was giving Ruffy a lot of looks, trying to throw him off. But Ruffy stayed composed, stayed defensively sound on the back foot, and waited to find his shots. And then as the fight built on, and Ruffy started to tag Fiziev a lot more, then he started to mix the feints in, get Fiziev to bite on those, and then boom, came over the top with that right hand. Nasty KO. If you go back and watch the video, it was one of the loudest sounding knockouts from a punch I've ever heard. It was thudding. I mean, he really spun Fiziev's jaw. So very impressive stuff from Ruffy. I'm not sure how many people can strike with him in this division, just on the feet purely. I mean, Fiziev's one of the elite strikers of this division. He's from a technical standpoint, he is up there with the best of them. Now, when it gets a little scrappy, like against Justin Gaethje, he may lose, but in terms of just technical striking, Fiziev is one of the best, and Ruffy, he really dismantled him in this fight. So I think it's going to take someone with without a fear of getting KO'd, who's just gonna kind of blitz forward, and it would take a Benoit Saint Denis who's not gonna be scared of getting knocked out, because Ruffy likes to fight on the back foot and find those counter strikes, and it's gonna take someone who's not afraid of getting knocked out, who's willing to take a punch to get inside with them and land some big shots of their own and maybe get him down. So I think it's gonna take like a pressure grappler who's not scared to get knocked out, or kind of a brawler who's willing to take that chance of get knocked out or get a knockout themselves. So I think that's what it's going to take to beat Mauricio Ruffy. But he is one of the best strikers in this lightweight division. He is very, very good, and he always puts on sick fights. So this was a fun fight from start to finish. When you're watching it, the whole crowd was like dead silent because everybody was waiting for a big moment because they knew it was coming. These guys are both so good on the feet. But Mauricio Ruffy, he was the one who ended up finding it. So good win for him. And I'm excited to see what's next for him. I'm not sure what it'll be. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what it'll be. Maybe like I don't know. I don't know. Someone in the top 10 for sure. I mean, he kind of got gifted that matchup. He lost to number 8 in the rankings, or he lost to, at the time, Benoit was like 10 or 11, and then after losing that, he got another shot against number 9. Didn't really make any sense to begin with. So maybe someone kind of on that top 10 brink. Someone right on the inside of the top 10, I think would be a good matchup for Ruffy next. We'll move on, though, to Tai Tuivasa versus Thaleson Teixeira. What a disgusting, just a sad, pitiful fight. Thaleson Teixeira gets it done by decision. He gets it done by Tai Tuivasa not wanting to win the fight, really. That was pitiful from Tai Tuivasa. Teixeira was out on his feet several times in round 3. He was hurt. He was gassed. He could barely stand up on his own. And instead of going for the finish, Tai, he's a big boy himself. He was gassed out as well, but he would just lay against him in the clinch. Like it was just embarrassing. Both of these guys' cardio were shockingly bad. It was horrendous. Thaleson Teixeira won 2 of the rounds. He won round 1 and 2. No question about that. No controversy here. Tai won round 3 because he kept rocking him over and over, but he just didn't have the gas tank to I guess push and land one more shot on the chin. Anytime he'd have Thaleson hurt, he would just clinch with him and just lay there for like 30 seconds to a minute. It was so bizarre. I felt like he had the win on a silver platter, but he threw it away, and Thaleson gets it done. Very lackluster performance from both guys. Taleson's shit. We know Tai Tuivasa's shit. I mean, the record speaks for itself. Go look at his last 6 fights. I think he's on a 6-fight losing streak. But Thaleson, there was some hope for him a little bit. I mean, he was a heavy favorite going into the Derek Lewis fight. He's a big guy. He's huge for the division. He's not fat. He got some love handles. He's got a little blubber on him, but he's not a fat guy. He's not a Tai Tuivasa build. So there's some hope for him, but there's not any hope for him anymore. This guy blows. He's terrible. Stinky fight. So I'm happy to move on from this one. We'll go to Quillan Salkilld versus Jamie Mularkey, the main card opener. Quillan Salkilld gets it done in dominant fashion, round 1. It was pretty even on the feet. Not a lot was happening. Both guys were kind of making the read, and then Quillan Salkilld eventually gets like a body lock and picks him up and slams him. Gets the rear naked choke really early into the fight. Really wasn't a lot to see with this one. I mean, Quillan Salkilld has great grappling. You saw it in the Yanala Schmooze fight. Completely controlled him in the wrestling, which was not how I expected the fight to go. I thought Quillan Salkilld would have pieced up Yanala Schmooze, but there was some moments on the feet where it was a little sketchy for Quillan. So he went to the grappling and he dominated that fight on the ground. And then this is another fight where you're expecting him to dominate on the feet, and then he takes it to the ground and dominates there. So he's showing how well-rounded he really is, and he's proven to be a legit prospect. I know Jamie Mularkey's not very good, and I know he's kind of known as the fodder for prospects, the guy they send out there to get KO'd by hot prospects, but still a very impressive performance from Quillan Salkilld. I mean, he got him out of there really quickly in round 1, about halfway through. It was a very impressive performance, and yeah, that's really all there is to it. Not much to take away from how they looked on the feet. Both guys looked all right on the feet, and then Quillan Salkilld just muscled him around, got him to the ground, and took his back and subbed him pretty much instantly. As soon as he got him down, he kind of jumped right on his back and got the rear naked choke right away. So Quillan Salkilld is very good. He has a lot of wins on the regional scene by submission as well. So he's looking like a real threat at lightweight. I'm looking forward to a top 15 matchup next for him for sure. We'll move on to the prelim headliner, Junior Tafa versus Billy Elikana. Billy Elikana gets this one done by submission. Just a gaping hole in Junior Tafa's game. He needs to work on the grappling. If he may get cut after this performance. Even if he does get cut, if he goes back to the regional scene, He needs to work on the grappling for sure. I mean, his submission defense is piss poor. We saw it against Tuco Tokos earlier last year. If you're getting subbed by Tuco Tokos, then that's a really bad look. And Billy Olicana capitalized on that weakness in his game. Um, yeah, it was sketchy in round one for Elikana. He got dropped bad. I mean, bad in round one by Junior Tafa. I thought he was out of there. It was funny. I was watching it with my friend. I'm like, oh, Billy Elikana's gonna beat the shit out of Tafa. And then boom, lands a nuke on Elikana's chin, drops him in round one. But Elikana's able to survive. Tafa lands some more haymakers in the round in that round as well. He landed some really nice lead hooks to the body. Those were money for Tafa. And Tafa's got good striking. I mean, they were talking about it. He was like a top 5 heavyweight kickboxer in another promotion before he came to the UFC. He's a great striker. He's got heavy hands. He's got good. He works the body really well. Tafa's a great striker, and I don't want to just kind of look at him as a fat blob who has no talent. He is a good striker. He cannot grapple to save his life, and these last 2 fights have really exposed that. So Billy kind of gets it done. He's able to weather the storm in round one, land some big shots of his own. He cracked Tafa in round two. He hurt him. He kind of landed on the eye, and Tafa seemed to be pretty badly hurt by that. And then later in the round, Elikana was able to get him down, get the back, and submit him. I believe it was a rear naked choke. I'm quite confident in that it was a rear naked choke. So impressive performance from Billy Elikana. Another showing about how well rounded he is. Kind of similar to his last fight. There wasn't as much adversity in his last fight, but another fight where he hurts someone on the feet, gets him down to the ground, and then subs him. So impressive stuff from Elikana. It was worrying in round one, because he lost that round. He got dropped really, really bad, and that's a sketchy sight. So I do worry about his striking defense a little bit, but overall he's shaping up to be a pretty good prospect. He lost to Bogdan Guskov in his debut, but I don't really feel like that's too bad of a loss. Short notice debut against Guskov, that's not really a bad thing, especially when he was doing pretty good in round one of that fight. And Bogdan Guskov himself, he got knocked out by Volkan Oezdemir in his debut. It's not uncommon to get a big mismatch in your debut and lose, and then still go on to make something of yourself in the light heavyweight division. So impressive performance from Billy Elikana. Well, not the most impressive, but decent performance from Billy Elikana. We'll see what's next for him. Now, Cam Ralston versus Cody Brundage. This was just Cam Ralston just picking Cody Brundage apart. I mean, you'd occasionally have Cody Brundage have a bit of a tard blitz and just rush in, flailing his arms around. He would sometimes land on the chin of Cam Ralston, but it would never do any real damage. And Cam Ralston just kept picking at him, just kept beating him up. It was just him picking away at him. That straight right was money. He kept landing down the pipe right on Cody Brundage's chin. Brundage is tough. I'll give him that. He was able to weather the storm for as long as he did, and he got finished, I think, by ground and pound in round two. But he just kept getting cracked by the same 1-2 over and over. I really would have liked to see Ralston use a little bit more feints to kind of draw out the reaction of Cody Brundage, because Brundage kept like swinging his head down and trying to duck out the way of shots. And I'm like, if he feints the two and then throws a knee, he could probably knock out Brundage in like highlight reel fashion. But he never did that. He may have tried it at one point, but it didn't land. So I would have liked to see him go to that more. When you land the fundamental stuff, the 1-2 over and over, when you keep piecing guys up with that, then you can start mixing in the more flashy stuff, trying to get some big highlight reel knockouts, because he just kept piecing up Brundage on the feet. It was one-way traffic for most of this fight. So like I said, Brundage had maybe 1 or 2 moments of success where he would just kind of blitz in, but never really got any real damage off, and it's just Ralston picking away at him. So impressive performance from Ralston. Uses his length advantage, his frame that he has over a lot of these middleweights to his advantage again. And it's also impressive because he was able to kind of neutralize. Brundage he only attempted 1 takedown in this fight. That's probably something in hindsight I'm sure he would have liked to have gone to more, because Torres Finney, we'll talk about that guy next, he's no good, and he was able to get Ralston down and hold him down to a decision win on the Contender Series. So I'm sure Brundage is kind of kicking himself for not trying to get the grappling going a little bit more, but still, I mean, this is a guy with a wrestling base that Cam Ralston just beat up on. So maybe he's starting to improve that area of his game, and he's getting better. He definitely is better than he showed in the Contender Series. So another impressive win for Ralston. We'll move on. Jacob Malkoun versus Torres Finney. Cut both of these guys tonight. Cut them both yesterday. Cut them after the fight when they're walking backstage. That was embarrassing. Torres Finney tore his ACL in round 1 and kept getting his face jabbed off by Jacob Malkoun. And Torres Finney just sucks. Like, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to beat around the bush. Torres Finney is no good. I'm more angry at Jacob Malkoun for not finishing him. That was abysmal. That was abysmal, and they shouldn't have even given him an interview. I don't care if he's New Zealander or whatever. I don't care about none of that. He should not have gotten a post fight interview. That was a disgrace of a performance. He could have finished Torres Finney so many times in that fight, and he kept letting him get back into the fight. And Torres Finney kept, it was round 3. He was hurt, he was battered, and he was still throwing those big overhands, which they're not gonna land, and they're not any. But if they do, it's gonna potentially knock you out. It's potentially gonna hurt you. So Malkoun, embarrassing for him to keep letting him back in this fight. Also, another thing I want to make note of. They said it was 5'9" versus 5'8" on the tail of the tape and whatnot, and like on the website when I was breaking down this fight. That was bullshit. Malkoun is at least 3 inches taller. I don't know where they got those numbers from. That's just another case of the UFC getting height measurements wrong, as always. But besides the point, Jacob Malkoun was just jabbing his face off. Anytime he would throw the 2, he would land it and rock Torres Finney. Then would follow it up with fuck all. He would do nothing afterwards and just kept letting Torres Finney off the hook. It didn't make sense. He dominated this fight on the feet. Had some moments of success on the ground as well. Got some good ground control. Got some ground and pound. Even he tried a rear naked choke at like the end of round 2, but like John Anik mentioned on the broadcast, Torres Finney does not have really a neck that you can submit him with. He kept going over he tried for a rear naked choke, and it looked like it was in Torres Finney's mouth. Like that's how much of a meatball this guy is. You're not gonna sub him with a rear naked choke. It's not gonna happen. So I don't know why Malkoun kept going for that. And just an embarrassing performance from him. I mean, he could have finished him on several occasions, but he didn't. Still gets it done by dominant decision. He'll get a jump up in competition next, so good for him. But that was shocking. That was really, really poor. So move on. Jonathan Mikhailov versus or Mikhailov, as they call him on the broadcast. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say Mikhailov because that's what makes sense to me. But him versus Alban Elliott. This one sucks because I picked Alban Elliott and I was rooting for him in this fight. He's a fun fighter. He's got a cool style and he's a cool dude. So I was rooting for Alban Elliott, and it sucks because he was doing so good. He was dominating round 1. He was, there was I think one moment where he got hurt a little bit. But other than that, he kept beating Mikhailov to the punch. He's landed some good kicks. He was cracking Mikhailov on the chin quite a bit. He looked a lot smaller in this fight, so I don't think his shots were doing quite as much as Mikhailov's did. But he was landing so much more. He looked really good in this fight. Round 1, he was in complete control. And then for the first half of round 2, he was in control. It looked like he was going to coast to a decision win. He even started, I think he hurt Mikhailov pretty bad early on in round 2. He landed something clean, and Mikhailov kind of stumbled backwards. But eventually Mikhailov, he was able to get him down to the ground, and he got the sub. He got the submission victory, rear naked choke over Alban Elliott, subbed him out cold. Respect to Alban Elliott for not tapping, I suppose. Unfortunate stuff because he was winning 90% of this fight, and then Mikhailov gets him down and subs him. Mikhailov's good. He's a little bit sloppy and looks a little bit slow, but he is a big 170 pounder. And maybe it's just because Alban Elliott did fight at 155 early in his career, and maybe Alban's just not a very big 170 pounder. But Jonathan Mikhailov looked huge compared to him. He looked really, really big. He's got a nice high kick as well. That he kept threatening that a lot. There was one time where it landed it kind of landed around the guard of Alban Elliott. He was able to block it for the most part, but it was still pretty scary. I was like, oh shit, I thought Alban was about to get chinned by that. So yeah, Mikhailov's good. Really big, physically imposing welterweight. He's got dangerous power in his hands. Showed that he's got some submission threats too. Impressive performance from him. Sucks for Alban Elliott too, because man, he was doing so good. So that really sucks. Started 3-0 on his UFC run. Now he's 3-2, I think. So hopefully he gets a reasonable bounce back fight. Konov Lee versus Yisha. Konov Lee gets it done. I don't know if I agreed with that. I do think he won round 1 and 3 very narrowly. They were close rounds, but Yisha dominated round 2. It was an absolute massacre in round 2. I'm surprised they didn't score it at 10-8. I think one of the judges did score it at 10-8, making it a draw. But the other 2 judges scored it at 10-9, and Konov Lee gets it done by split decision. So I disagree with that. I think it should have been a draw. But I'm disappointed in Yisha because he looked better for a lot of this fight, and he was dominating round 2, nearly had the finish. But even without the finish, I mean, why are you taking your foot off the gas so much in round 2? Round 1 was a close round, and it did go to Konov Lee. And round 2, you never know if they're going to give you a 10-8 or not. Not every judge is that lenient when it comes to 10-8s. So him kind of taking the round so slow and kind of giving the fight away, that really didn't make any sense for me. So Konov Lee gets it done. I disagree with the decision, but he did win 2 of the rounds. So if it's up to interpretation. If you see round 2 as a 10-9, then he's the winner. Even though Yija, he beat the fuck out of him. He really did. But it's round by round scoring. It's not overall damage. So good rally from Konoff Lee, gets it done in round 3, or not, doesn't get it done in round 3, gets it done by decision by winning rounds 1 and 3. I guess I'll kind of briefly go through the road to the UFC stuff. I'm not gonna harp on it for too long. Don Marfan, impressive performance, kinda. It was a scrap. I feel like this should have got fight of the night. I don't know why it didn't, especially because the 2 guys in the main event are already multi-millionaires. Why not give it to the road to UFC guys who are probably on 5 for 5? I don't really understand that much at all, because this was a 6 scrap. It was really fun to watch. Don Marfan got it done. I thought it was probably 29-28, but I think all 3 judges had it 30-27. It was a scrap. That's really the best way to describe it. Nakamura, not even going to say the first name, he got the knockout win over Sebastian Salai. It was a pretty competitive fight, and then in round 3, landed a nasty knee up the middle. He landed 2 actually back to back. He landed 1. It kind of hurt Salai a little bit, and then he they were exchanging on the feet a little bit. Then he landed another one, boom, flush on the chin. Salai went face first. He wasn't out cold really. He kind of recovered, but he was out where the ref should have stopped it. So hell of a win from Nakamura. And then I'll be completely blunt. My Paramount Plus was glitching out, and I missed that first fight. So let's see. Lawrence Louis gets it done. Very good for him. Good for Lawrence Louis. He wins. So yeah, that's really all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you watched this far, I appreciate it a ton, and I will see you guys in the next one. Like and subscribe, please.